welcome to Turn the Page, the official podcast of the Syosset Public Library.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Turn the Page. I'm your host today, Jen, and I am joined by a co-host, which is always a pleasure for me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi. So my name is Kaye. I'm one of the Reader Services librarians here at the Syosset Public Library, and we are both here to talk about this very exciting book.
Yeah, I am so excited for this one. This book is dedicated to childless cat ladies, and I'm like, that's me.
It's us.
And so we're so excited and welcome. Could I ask you to introduce yourself and your book, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, by the way. My name is Annika Hinds, and I'm a DIY content creator and the author of Crafting for Your Cat, which is essentially a collection of like fun DIYs and projects you can do for your cat at home.
It's so cute.
It's adorable. The cover especially caught our attention. And we are, as we both just said, childless cat ladies. So this immediately caught our attention. And ever since reading your book, I just want to say I've been on the hunt for cardboard.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the crafts that you can make using this book.
Yeah.
Or it's one of the potential components of any craft. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a great material to have on hand. The cardboard the collection I have of cardboard is obnoxious.
Yeah, so as we said, we're both cat people and we have lots of crafters at this library. I have been sort of like slowly peer pressured into getting more into crafting, and I'm like getting there.
We've been trying to teach Jen how to crochet for the last 6 months.
Yeah, I'm scared.
It's one of those things you really have to like pay attention to start, and then eventually you can like do it while you're watching TV and stuff, but you got to commit to like learning how to do it. I still am not a total crocheter.
Well, ironically, we had our crochet circle today too. So today I'm all crafty today.
Love it.
Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about your journey to this book? I know that you have a very popular social media presence having to do with all do it yourself and crafting. How did this all come about?
Yeah, I mean, several years ago, I think it was 2019 is when I started making videos and posting them. It was kind of like at the beginning of COVID too. And I had lost my job and I was at home and I just started kind of showing the internet what I was doing already and making DIYs. And so for a while, it was just a lot of DIYs for myself and my house. And then I got a cat. She kind of just fell into my lap. She was a rescue. And I was watching her while we were trying to find her a home. And I just fell in love with her. And I was like, okay, well, now I have a cat. So then I started kind of experimenting with DIYs for her because I wanted to make the space as much for her as it was for me. I think that's really important when you have a pet. I think we can just get so focused on our own like well-being that we like neglect making our space also like great for our pets. So I started doing that and I just got like such a positive response online. Like people were so excited about it, as excited as I was about it. So I just got really inspired to keep doing it. And then Chronicle Books reached out to me and they were like, do you want to make a book about this? And I was like, say less. I would love to make a book about this. Like all I have to do is like come up with crafts and hang out with cats and take photos. I was like, yes, please. So that is how it kind of came to me. And I just had so much fun making it.
Do you have a favorite craft that you had to create for the book? I know my pick.
Wait, what's your pick?
I haven't made it yet, but I really liked the wand toy that you had with the pom-poms. I think that was my favorite one so far because it's so colorful and pretty. And I have two cats, two fur babies, and they are obsessed with wand toys. So in my brain, I was like, oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah, no, I love the pom-pom one. And plus you can make whatever colors you want and stuff. So it's like anybody can make it how they want. I think my favorite if I had to pick one, it would probably be the strawberry that's on the cover.
I love the strawberry.
I feel like that one's just really fun and like playful. And I also, it just encompasses a lot of the things that I love about the type of crafting I do, which is a lot of like reusing everyday materials and, thinking outside the box, making something that you couldn't necessarily go buy.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that one's my favorite.
Yeah, I have to go pick up some sisal rope.
I think it's sisal rope. I actually don't know. I think it's sisal, jute rope. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever it's called. So we bought one of those like flower ones that has the green wrapped around it, and my cats have torn it to shreds. So I'm like, I'll rip it off and replace it. It's, that's what I like about like talking to DIYers, or even like when you can DIY something, like something breaks, you're like, okay, I can
fix it. Yeah.
Replace like whatever you need.
Yeah, and I hope like one of the takeaways I hope people get from the book, even if you're not going to do the exact craft that I did, is just like take the ideas of it to, make it your own. So you can like learn how to put the sisal rope on and then do that to stuff you already have, or, make it your own. So it's beyond just like, what the crafts are in the book. You can take those and use them elsewhere as well.
Yeah, what I really like about it and about like your wider work is that, I think a lot of people talk about like aesthetics and practicality as though you can have one or the other, that they're diametrically opposed. And a lot of this stuff too shows, I think, that like you can have like cat-centric design that is like aesthetically pleasing to humans, and I think that that's a really, really nice message to this book. How did you go about choosing all of the crafts? And like when you are writing a recipe for a craft, like do you have to make it a bunch of times to figure out how to like write down the process, like kind of what goes into the choosing and then the how you relate the craft, if that makes sense?
Yeah, totally. I mean, actually, like the hardest part was like narrowing down the crafts. I feel like I have had so many like ideas, and so it was really narrowing it down to like not be too repetitive, but and also have a little bit of everything. I wanted like accessories, toys, scratchers, tree. I wanted there to be a little bit of everything. And I also wanted it to have like a bunch of different skill levels too. Because, there's like crafting and then there's like DIY, which is a little more my lane. And I wanted there to be like something super easy where you only need a glue gun, and then something that could challenge somebody to make something bigger, and kind of expand their skills. So I really tried to make an effort of making like, a variety there. And yeah, it was like a lot of remaking the thing, tweaking the thing. So some of the crafts, like I made one and it worked out perfect. Like the strawberry, like I, took pictures and did that as like for the first one, and it just turned out great. And some of them I had to like go back in and rephotograph, tweak, and make sure they were perfect. But before I even did the crafts, I write down like my layout of like how I want the flow to be. I like have the vision at the end, and then I'm like, okay, how do I puzzle piece this together? And that's when I like kind of write out the instructions. And then as I'm doing it, I realize the things that I need to say. I'm like, oh, I should mention this, or it's like in the process of making it that a lot of those detail things come out. And I just jot them down as I'm doing it, and then create it all at the end.
Nice. Do you have like beta testers? And I guess I could mean by that, A, humans who test the craft instructions, and B, cats who test the accessories. Yeah.
Beta testers and cat testers.
Yes.
Well, for the cat side of things, I had to find cat models for this book, which was like really funny. Chronicle was like, "Do you think you can find cats?" And I was like, I can try. And I just ended up using, a bunch of my friends' cats and cats from around the city. I put up posters and asked like, does anyone want to volunteer their cats? So I had a lot of responses there. And so I was able to like bring these crafts to the cats, and then I kind of let them pick which one they wanted, because, photographing cats is not easy. They're a little wild and you can't force anything on a cat. So I think that in itself is proof that the craft worked, because the cat's actually using it. You can't like force it upon them. But yeah, a lot of like the testing was with my friends' cats. So I'd bring stuff over, see what they played with. And then also my friends were great testers, because they are not crafters or DIYers. And then I would, give my friend the instruction and be like, what's confusing you here? What can I make more clear? Is this too complicated of a craft? That kind of stuff was like great to like bounce off of like the people around me.
Yeah, you definitely had good testers in that regard, because I was reading through, and again, I am crafty DIY-y, so like I'm probably not, I mean, I'm the target audience, but I'm probably not a good tester, because I'd be like, oh, I know how you got from A to B, don't worry about it. But I will say the instructions were really well thought out. I think you did a really good job at that. And I do want to just note that seeing like, oh, modeled by this cat name, like at the bottom of each picture, made me like really happy to be like, oh, they're actually like real cats.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I didn't seek specific model cats. I was like, please, I want real world cats, authentic cats.
Yeah, and to your point, like cats don't pretend, like there was that recent movie, Good Boy. Did you hear about this? Where they had like, it's about a dog. It's a haunted house movie about a dog, and it's from his perspective. And the director talked about like how he worked with the dog over 2 years to like get all the shots. And I'm like, a cat would never.
No,
That would be like, where's my
Super
union?
Yeah, actually, so it's funny you say that. Quick tangent. We'll get back to the book.
Yeah.
There's a really interesting video online, actually, which you can look up, but it's about how whenever they do cat actors in Hollywood, they hire more than one. And so so for instance, when they recently had The Quiet Place, the prequel Quiet Place, that wasn't one cat, it was like four. So they had like one cat that was good at being held and carried. They had one cat that was, because you can only train a cat to do one thing.
Yeah,
You
totally.
can't train a cat to do, I mean, you can, but it takes a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, they all have very different personalities too.
Yes.
And so that was also something that I really took into consideration when coming up with these, because, my cat, I could only use her to test so many things, because she's really not very playful. Like, she is a lounger and she likes to like, just snuggle and relax. And so like those were great to test on her, but I needed like really athletic and fun cats that are like more playful to come in and like experiment with the other stuff. So I really wanted a variety of projects for cat personality as well.
Was there any project that you made that didn't make it into the book that you would like to share?
Well, I mean, I think there were a lot that were maybe like just too complicated, like too many little steps or too many materials. Like I made an ice cream truck for my cat. It's like an ice cream truck bed. And I like loved that, and I wanted to include that. And I probably could have maybe out of like cardboard or something, but I really wanted the stuff in the book to be kind of long lasting crafts. But I had originally done that out of an American Girl doll, like one. And so like that was something that I couldn't include, but I really wanted to.
Yeah, I've also put a note from the copy I got of your book in my head of like, we will make shelves one day. So it is good to know that shelves are possible, because I see people building like jungle gyms for their cats in their house. The what does Jackson Galaxy call it? Like the cat superhighway or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need that, because I have two cats who fight all the time over nothing. So like when you build them a higher up area, it helps them with that.
Yeah,
But
I think it's one of the most important things for cats to have is vertical space, because it makes them feel safe. They can escape. They can see everything happening.
yeah.
So I think it's a really great thing to like include in your home. And yeah, shelves aren't that complicated if you break down a little bit.
Right. And I think that was, it was good in the book that it was broken down in such a way that I was like, okay, I just need a saw. I can figure it out from there.
Yeah. Or even like in the book, there's the like bed crate. I don't know if you saw that. And that's great, because you can literally just go to the craft store, grab a crate and drill it to your wall, and you can have like that height without having to like, cut anything or, install brackets, all of that. So
just make sure you find the studs.
Yes,
Don't throw anything into it.
Find the studs.
Yeah, these like work in rental spaces too. Like, like they are really helpful, I think, in that like you don't really need to make major like structural changes. This is something that you could sort of like put in and take out when you're on your way, and
Yeah.
that's really great.
Yeah, I mean, I was renting for so long before I moved into this house recently. And so a lot of the projects was doing were like renter friendly and needed to be. And so I think that just came so naturally just because it's like, that's what I had to do. So yeah.
Mm. Oh, so I do have a question about the photos. They're really beautiful, and you've talked a little bit about sourcing your models. But I'm really curious about like what other considerations that you have to take into account when you're photographing your crafts, especially for you, because color is so important. So how do you prep to do this kind of photography?
Well, I've had a lot of experience with product photography. Before I was making DIY videos, I was working for a lot of like small businesses and artists, and I would photograph their work and I would, do their websites and stuff. So I got very familiar with like lighting and just like, product photography. And I also studied photography in school, mostly like portraits. So I kind of had some familiarity with it, but I'd never done anything for this big before, like, such a big undertaking of photos. And so it was a lot of experimenting because not only am I taking the photo, I'm in the photo in all the process ones. So I was clicking, with a little clicker to take all those photos myself. Um, and that was like such a process to figure out and kind of get right, and also like figuring out like what do I need to photograph about this, like how do I place it, what does the reader need to see here to understand. So it was like just a lot of experimenting and then narrowing down those photos. And I think like as I got more and more into the projects in the book, I like started figuring it out more. But yeah, it was just a learning curve on the job.
There's probably a lot of really good bloopers, I imagine, of just like
Yeah.
cat making goofy faces and
Yeah, I have so many goofy faces of Fig because she's like always interrupting my project. So she's like next to me while I'm doing stuff. And
Maybe
yeah,
it's part of
some
the
of
charm when you're like watching someone on YouTube and their craft, and all of
yeah,
a sudden there's an animal there,
yes.
yeah,
You can publish another book with just the blooper pictures.
just bloopers. Yeah, I
Cats and
know.
crafts. The cat interrupted my craft. That could be fun.
Let's see.
I have another one.
Oh,
Was there a certain like chronological order to the crafts, or like, or even maybe two questions? Was there an order to the crafts, or how did you decide the order of the crafts when you put them in the book?
The order they're laid out in the book.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was like a lot of help with my publisher too, because we were just trying to figure out like, do we do it by difficulty or do we sort them by the type of crafts they are? And we ended up going with the type because I just think that this like people can go through the section that they like want to explore more specifically.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it was better that way. And I think it was just like a natural flow. Like I think like it's the layout in the book is actually very similar to the list that I had sent initially to Chronicle of like all my ideas. So I think it was just like kind of naturally came out in the book the way that it came out in my head, going through it. So there wasn't like too much planning. I think that part just came naturally.
yeah, it's like kind of like assembling a playlist, you have to sort of think about a lot of different factors when you're putting everything into place.
Yeah, and the designer too, who helped like design the book too. She had like a vision for it as well, and I think she did a great job with the layout.
It seems like she knew how colorful you wanted to be
Oh
too.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
We
you
had,
can
we had
tell.
many meetings. Yeah, we had many meetings where I was like, I want this to be fun. I
Yeah.
want this to be playful.
I think that's what like one of the things I liked about the book. I think I said it before, but like it's just so bright. Like it
Yeah.
just caught our attention almost right away. Like, oh wow, look at this fun, bright, colorful thing. And there's cats involved. It's a dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is like a warm hug of a craft book. It is
Yes.
so bright and cheerful and very welcoming, and accessible, like there's not a lot of intimidation going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really fun, I think, for regardless of what your craft level is, and we sort of run the gamut. Like I am the alpha and you are the omega. Like
And even being the omega,
Yeah.
like there were some crafts when I opened the book, I was like, oh my God, like that's, and then you look at the difficulty rating, you're like, oh, that's a 5. Okay, right. That makes sense. That would be like it's not unattainable for somebody to do. It's just going to be like a little more effort. And that's,
I think you just work your way up. Yeah. I really wanted a variety. And when I think of crafting, I really do think of it as just like making anything with your hands and creating anything. I think a lot of people think of crafting as like sewing, collaging, and that is all crafting as well. I just think that there is also more to it. It's not just like narrowed down in that for my definition of it. So I really wanted to include a lot of what I consider my craft, like the type of craft that I do in the book.
I really appreciate the accessibility to sort of go back to that, because I have found that like it's much harder to learn new skills in your adult years than it is when you are a kid. And I think that's all about our relationship to play, right? Like when you're a kid, like you play, you mess around, you're not worried about the final product as much as you are just like in the process, not judging it as you are making it, just kind of like letting it happen. And when you try to do that as an adult, like I think you perceive everything as work, and it becomes about like, is this right? Is this not right? Am I doing it wrong?
Failure.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that was like one of the things that I put in kind of like why DIY in the beginning of the book is like connect to your inner child, because this is like, you don't have to do it perfect. It's for your cat. They don't care how it looks. Like, have fun experimenting with these things or with any project that you want to do. Like, practice makes perfect. And so the first time you do something is not going to be great. And that's okay. And like, if you're learning a new tool or you're working with a different material, like give yourself the time to just like play with it and experiment with it. Like that's the fun part. That's the learning process. And that's one of my favorite things about doing projects and DIY and stuff, and about my job in general, is that I'm constantly learning a new skill or trade or thing. Like I'm constantly experimenting, and like that is what brings me the most joy, is like taking on something I've never done before and a challenge. And so I hope people have just fun making stuff from this.
Yeah, I think they will.
I'm looking forward to building things. I just haven't had the chance to yet because I'm working on 500 other projects.
Yeah, that's always the case.
Wow. Do you have any fun DIY projects that you're working on right now for yourself?
Yeah, I am. Like literally right before we got on, I'm making a bird bath out for outside because now I have a yard. So I'm doing a mosaic bird bath.
Oh, fun.
And so I was like breaking all the mosaic pieces, or I'm doing it out of like china pieces.
I was just gonna say, did you buy plates? I've seen that.
Yeah. I know. I've been wanting to do one forever, but I lived in an apartment and I was like, well, I can't do that. And now I have a yard. So, and spring's coming, and I was like, it's time. It's time to make a bird bath.
And your cat will love that.
That's true.
She'll sit by the window and be like,
totally. Yeah. It's also for her.
It's all for her. It's always for her.
We look forward to 25 playful projects for your bird.
Yes.
Literally. It's going to be every animal after.
Yeah, right?
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. It has been absolutely delightful. I absolutely suggest our listeners pick up Crafting for Your Cat. You can go to your, library, since we're a library podcast, or your favorite bookstore or website. All right. Well, this has been Jen with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Kaye.
And we have been with Annika Hinds. And again, that book is Crafting for Your Cat, 25 playful projects for you and your feline friends. All right. It is time to close this chapter. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
It's time to close this chapter of Turn the Page. Join us for the next episode.